So I watched the halftime show by Kendrick Lamar, and although some of the words did get away from me, a few of them did make their way down the corridors of my eardrums. And that, coupled with the visuals, really arrested my spirit. Yes, indeed, the revolution has been televised. Some people are saying that the message was hidden, that it was out of reach, that it went over their heads, they didn't understand it. A lot of people are saying that it was boring, but I don't think it was any of those things. I think he said exactly what he meant to say. It was not hidden, it was bold, it was right in your face. I think you just had to have listening ears. So now that we've seen it, what do we do now? First, Samuel L. Jackson as Uncle Sam was nothing less than brilliant. Who else could portray the embodiment of the system itself better than Samuel L. Jackson? There he stood, draped in his red, white, and blue, not as a beacon of freedom, but a reminder of control. His words were not encouragement, they were commands. Don't be too loud. Don't be too reckless. Don't be too ghetto. Now think about that. Where have you heard that before? Haven't they told us to stay in our place? Haven't they told us to calm down when we demand justice? Haven't they tried to police our bodies, our minds, our futures? Well, Kendrick Lamar ignored him. And that's exactly what we should do. We need to take that mic and we need to be loud. We need to be reckless. Now is the time to be ghetto. Put on your bonnet and drag your feet to that voting booth. That is what we need to do. Now is the time to be reckless, not in a way that causes trouble, but in a way that shakes up you from the monotonous life that you're living right now. Too many of us are burying our heads in the sand. Too many of us are sitting on the rooftops while the world is burning, saying, oh, that's not going to happen to me. It's not going to affect me. Well, I beg to differ. If you pay attention to what's going on, this thing is going to affect everybody that is not in that top 1% is going to be affected in some way, some shape, some form or another. Because let me tell you what happens with this stuff. And we've seen other cultures. You've seen it in other cultures where you give people a little bit of power, and one thing about people that are power hungry, that hunger is never satiated. It's always thriving for more. More could be something coming out of your bank account. More could be your job doors locked. It's already started. So don't think that it can't or that it won't happen to you. So whatever you can do, I say that you do it. Now is the time to be reckless in your assertion that you will not sit idly by and let an administration just walk all over what we have worked so hard to achieve. One scene from the Super Bowl halftime show really it's just sad how we fall into the cycle. The prison yard scene is what I'm referring to. I think we make up about 14% of Americans, but yet about 40% of what you see in prisons is us. And we all know that it's systematic, but the thing is we fall into the system. And I know there are cases where someone has not done anything wrong and they still end up in prison or profiled by the police. But there are so many cases where we are taking the carrot that is being dangled in front of us. There are so many studies of how, our black men, our black women end up in situations that are against the law. And part of it is poverty. But before now, things are, like I said, things are changing. But before now, to me, there was no reason why. Everything is a choice. I guess that's the best way to put it. Everything is a choice. We go through school, we make choices to do what's right, to get good grades, and to climb the proverbial ladder. And some of us are thriving because of that. But there are other situations where Lil Ray is guilty of what he's being charged of. And my question is, how did he get there? Why is he there? So I don't know if that's more programs, more help, but a lot of it is just us taking our eyes off of what is important when it comes to our families. We already know that we are at a disadvantage. We already know these things. So you start out from the gate, making sure that your kid, your son, your daughter has the best opportunities possible to succeed. And that part is on us. Yes, the carrot is dangling, but that doesn't mean that you have to take it. You do not have to take it. You can choose a different route. So the prison scene really got to me. And it's like, once you're there, what could be done? What can be done once you're there? The objective should be, do not get there. Don't get into that situation where you're faced with a court. You know, most of us don't have money to get the best attorneys. So just don't put yourself in that situation. And it's just heartbreaking, but it's decisions. I know someone that pulled the trigger, killed someone, and they're 20-something years old. Well, he's 30-something now, but back then, 20-something years old, and you're in jail. But the thing is, he served in the military, young, probably didn't get the counseling that he needed when he got out of the military. So put him in a situation to not be able to probably deal with whatever disagreement or anger he was feeling at the time, and it ended in a tragedy. But the thing is, we have to have our eyes open to what our people need, and there are so many of us who have the resources to be helpful, to step in these situations, but because of the divide, the 5 and the 5, because of that divide, we're on I got mine, you need to get yours. But as we're seeing right now, it does not matter with this, DEI rollbacks and all. It does not matter. These Christian nationalists and the people that are in the White House, they do not, unless you're like that mayor in New York, unless you can do something for them, they don't want no part of your black skin. And that's just a truth of the matter. And that's what we have to see. It doesn't matter how much money you have. And a lot of people, that do have the means, the entertainers, and it's like, I can't say that they're not doing anything, but I really haven't seen, heard of any type of movement that is really going to be a game changer in making sure that our people are taken care of. And that's just my personal view. Obviously, this is my channel, but that's my personal view on that. I do believe that people that have been given, not that they haven't worked for it, but I do believe that whom much is given, much is required. And we just sometimes sit back in our ivory castles and just watch the world burn. So praying for a better, just praying for better in regards to that, because one day it will be you or someone that you know. And that's just a fact of the matter. These people have your bank accounts. So they have your bank accounts, they have your social security number. So there is just no telling what can happen. So you need to make a move. You need to be doing something. And that's not a scare tactic. That is reality. Because why else would you need it if you're not planning on doing something with it? So when they could no longer own our bodies, they tried to own our labor. And when they could no longer own our labor, they tried to own our vote. Now that they no longer own our vote, they want to try to own our mind, feeding us lies, unwriting our history, telling us, oh, there's no need to struggle anymore, when in actuality, the struggle should never end. So what now? Do we keep carrying this weight, or do we finally drop it? Do we refuse to hold it for them any longer? Do we keep letting them write our history, or do we grab the pen and write our own ending? We were too quiet when they came to Africa to take us. We were not reckless enough as we sat on those slave ships during the Middle Passage. We weren't ghetto enough when they told us to open our legs so that we could birth their babies. But now is the time. Now is the time for us to be too loud, too reckless, too ghetto. Listen to me. Those games are over. Those games should have been over. Did you see that part of the show? The game is over. So all of us that were bored by the Super Bowl, always wanting to be entertained, always wanting to be laughing and drinking and doing whatever it is that y'all do. I mean, it's time out for that. We're in a fight for our country, the country that we built. Don't let anybody else tell you that, oh, America is so great because of the Rockefellers or the Fords or whoever. We built this country. We built this country. And the sad part about it is, just like the Israelites when they went into Babylonian captivity, or even when they went into Egyptian captivity, it was not that they were not strong. It was not that they were not smart. It was more so they just did not believe, or they were not smart enough to see that the wolves were at their door. So in that case, somebody else that was afraid of them, another people that was afraid of them, came in and took them captive. Can you see the parallel? We are smart. We are strong. We are brilliant. I mean, we're in Black History Month. There are so many accomplishments that we have made as Black through all of the struggle, through all of the name calling and the dogs chasings and the lynchings. We still came out on top, but we have to be unified. We have to work together. Those of you who said it was boring, I challenge you to watch it again. If you haven't seen it, I challenge you to watch it. Those words are real fast. That young man can rap. He's very talented. But if your eyes are open, you will see the message. You will see the message. And it's not a message that is new, but it's very relevant for our time. And my prayer is that we do something. We saw the message. What now? Be blessed, America.